stress might be one of the things you want to avoid the most. Humans have achieved unprecedented wealth and security, but haven't yet been freed from stress. Why are we designed to experience stress? What exactly is stress? Put simply, stress is a threat response system designed to maximize the probability of survival and reproduction. We live in an agriculture-based industrialized society of the 21st century, but we still have the body and mind fit for the hunter-gatherer lifestyle of our ancestors. We feel stress against what threatened our ancestors' lives and reproductive opportunities, and that stress prompts us to confront or avoid these threats. The problem is that the living environment in the 21st century is quite different from our ancestors. The very mechanism that helped our ancestors survive often backfires today, and it makes us stressed out, depressed, and unhappy. Besides, it has been optimized for survival and reproduction, not for our well-being. To live happily, we need to fully understand our internal operating system and learn how to manage it. How can we get along with our stress system? Stress is a biological system to avoid potential threats and deal with imminent dangers for survival. Our biological nature was shaped in the hunter-gatherer era, where half of the population died before reaching adulthood. In order to survive such a harsh environment, our stress system has evolved to respond to potential threats overly sensitively. Imagine a situation where our ancestral hunter-gatherer is walking through a forest. Suddenly, a poisonous snake appears from the grass. Then, his brain immediately sends a signal to release stress hormones like cortisol, directing his body to send more energy and oxygen to his muscles and brain. But the more effective survival strategy is to get ready for the threat, even before it appears. When the grass rustles, it could be caused by a fallen twig, a harmless rabbit, or a venomous snake. If the top priority is survival, his biological algorithm has to assume that the sound is made by a snake, no matter how unlikely it is. The body shows a similar stress response to an actual snake, and an imaginary snake you predict to encounter. In most cases, it's a false alarm, but the cost is small, temporary discomfort of stress hormones circulating throughout the body. The price is far cheaper than losing your life. Since survival is the primary concern for evolution, the stress response system should be somewhat overactive. Today, the brain sometimes predicts negative outcomes without any substantial reason, because it is designed to do so. One way to survive a life-threatening situation is to face it and get over it. For example, when we see a poisonous snake, various stress hormones immediately circulate through the bloodstreams, encouraging our body to prepare for fight or flight. However, if the world is full of too many dangers, the best survival strategy is not to walk around the outside world to begin with. When we are exposed to intense and chronic stressors for a long time, our instinct interprets it as a sign that there are numerous threats in the outside world. In order to stay away from these risks, the brain tries to keep us indoors by making us feel depressed. This is supposed to be the mechanism behind the development of mental disorders, such as depression. Also, our instinct does not understand the latest information and transportation technologies. Natural disasters and wars in distant countries will not directly threaten your life. However, our biological instinct was shaped in a hunter-gatherer era, where there were not such things as the internet and TVs. Therefore, until very recently in human history, we didn't have a chance to see and learn about tragedies that struck people in distant areas. We consciously know that they are happening at distant places, but our subconscious may believe that we are surrounded by imminent threats. Of course, it is important to stay informed about what's happening around the world, but maintaining your own inner peace is equally or more important. If watching the news is depressing, you don't have to. Humans are exceptionally social animals. In the natural environment, a single individual human is embarrassingly helpless, so we have survived and thrived by gathering together and cooperating with each other. Thus, the body and the mind of Homo sapiens have evolved to have extra care about his or her social condition and status. We are designed to be afraid of social isolation, and constantly care about our relatives' social standing in the community. These two concerns can be chronic sources of stress. For example, if your boss at work says, "I need to talk to you about something," you might feel a bit anxious. Your boss could just want to talk over a complicated topic that is difficult to be discussed via email, but your brain worries that you are going to receive negative feedback. What is at play is the fear of being expelled, or losing status. In addition, our instinct for social status particularly backfires today. If you were in a group of 150 hunter-gatherers, you could be quite content with yourself, saying, "I'm relatively beautiful in this community," or "I'm pretty capable." Today, by contrast, we can see the lives of the top celebrities, and perfect but illusional days of influencers on social media. We are being told that there are always people greater than us in the 8 billion population. By comparing ourselves to those perfect yet delusive images, the brain interprets that our relative status is going down, which possibly undermines our mental health. Our instinct doesn't understand the fact that the celebrity on our smartphone screen is a complete stranger, almost unlikely to meet, and therefore has nothing to do with our lives. Today, the stress response system often reacts excessively to the subtle and minor signs of social threats. In short, stress is the result of the threat response system designed specifically for survival. Since survival is the primary concern, it is designed to be overactive by default. Therefore, it is unrealistic to ponder how to avoid and eliminate all kinds of stress. Rather, we need to understand what stress is, and know how to better cope with it. First, stress is just a physiological phenomenon. Let's say you have an argument with your partner and feel anxious about the relationship. You will feel uncomfortable, not directly because of the argument itself, but because of the physiological alterations, such as parasympathetic inhibition and increased stress hormones in your bloodstream. If the anxiety persists and distracts you from work, you can let it go by changing your physiological state, such as exercising, taking a shower or a sauna, or attending a live concert. Exercising is particularly effective. Physical exercise itself is also a stressful experience, but unlike psychological stress, it is somewhat comfortable. When you start running, cortisol, one of the major stress hormones, increases in your bloodstream. After working out, the body tries to restore the elevated stress levels back to normal, which usually leads to lower cortisol levels than before exercise. We often find ourselves cheerful and refreshed after exercising, primarily because of these hormonal changes. In other words, you can overwrite psychological stress with physical stress, washing away uncomfortable stress with healthy, comfortable stress. Moreover, after several weeks of regular exercise, your ordinary stress responses will become more moderate. Another effective intervention is changing how you interpret stress. By turning your eyes to positive aspects of a stressful experience, you can change how your body responds to stress. Again, our biological mechanism is not designed to keep us happy all the time. In order to stay happy, we need to understand our internal algorithm and how to deal with it.